Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I am talking about healthy intestinal function, the physical function of your intestinal system. What can you do to ensure that you have healthy bowel movements, good bacteria and a good balance between the good and bad bacteria, no bowel obstructions, nothing out of the ordinary. How can we have a good, proper functioning digestive system, which is of utmost importance because 70% of our immune system is in our gut, and we, more than anything, are eating. Compared to everything else that we do, the biggest thing is that we are eating, and we are putting so much food into our intestinal system. And since that is one of the most important systems in the body because of how much we're eating and how much our body kind of circles around our digestive system, we want to make sure it's functioning really, really well. So what can we do to ensure optimal digestive function? I have a couple things that are so important, and I'm hoping that you guys will get some really good information in this video, and maybe can walk away with something you didn't know. Heads up, the kids are downstairs and yelling, so I apologize if you hear them in this video. Okay, the first thing that I want to stress is the need for fiber, and not just vegetable fiber or insoluble fiber, but you also want to have a lot of soluble fiber. And why is that? Well, if you picture a pipe and you're stuffing it with lots of stuff, with mud, gunk, etc. There's just like a typical pipe that has holes on both ends, and you're filling it up with stuff. What happens when you're stuffing it with like really sticky things? It's going to stick to the pipe and close off the pipe and prevent any movement or any food, or in our case our intestinal system, anything from passing through. So you need something tough and rough that can really scrape the pipe as it's moving through, so that it can take all the gunk and stuff with it and keep that pipe nice, clean, and with a full healthy diameter. So I hope this analogy makes sense. Our intestinal system is really a tube, and when you're eating high fat and saturated fatty foods, and you're eating sugars and all kinds of things, these stick to the walls of our intestinal system and physically reduce the size of an available opening for things to pass through. This can lead to bowel obstructions and all kinds of things if you're not eating enough fiber on a regular basis to scrape everything through as it's moving. And why does sorry, I'm a little bit sick, but why does insoluble fiber do this? Why does it scrape things? Because say an insoluble fiber, for example, is like chia seeds, flax seeds, psyllium husk. And when you see the seed, it's very, very tiny, but if you drop it in water, it swells up because it absorbs a lot of fluid. So that's why it's called soluble fiber. It absorbs a lot of water. Sorry, you can hear the kids. So what that means is that if you're eating a decent amount of this every day, a few tablespoons of this soluble fiber, it's swelling up in the intestinal system and absorbing a lot of the fluid in there, which bulks up the stool. As it swells up, it's bulking up your stool, so it's pushing everything through. It's kind of like all of this pressure to push everything out. And this is how you can prevent constipation or relieve constipation, is by having enough fiber to scrape everything through the intestinal system and get it out. So a lot of times, again, if you're just eating burgers and pizza and greasy things that are really saturated and don't contain any fiber at all, you're not having that scraping. Now, something I want to stress here is if you are, say, in your 20s, 30s, or older, in your younger years, you most likely were just eating a lot of sugar and processed foods and not enough fiber. So foods can stick in our intestinal system for years. Some people have food stuck in there for 15 years in terms of like sticking to the walls of your intestinal system and kind of closing it up, just like that pipe I described earlier. So for years and years and years and years, you have this buildup of, as gross as it is, stool kind of sticking to your intestinal system and not being pushed out because of lack of fiber in the diet. And so this creates so much toxicity because this stool is toxic, and it's sending all these toxic fumes literally into your bloodstream, and it's adding to your toxicity burden in the body. And so that has to come out. And also it's causing constipation because it's leaving you, if your intestinal system, say, is this big, it's not actually, but say it is, and it's surrounded by so much buildup of food, it really is only that big in terms of how much food can pass through. So you're going to end up with thinner stools. You're going to end up feeling full all the time. Even if you have bowel movements, you're still not going to feel like you're fully emptying. And it's also going to lead to so much inflammation and dysbiosis. So fiber is at the very source of everything. It is so important to get into your diet. You want lots of fiber from vegetables, which will help scrape the intestinal system, but you also need that soluble fiber, so the chia, the flax, the psyllium husk, because this is what's going to swell up and push everything through and bulk up your stool so that you have fuller, bigger, healthier bowel movements. But they're also a prebiotic. So these seeds feed the good bacteria in your gut, and they're going to help multiply that population as well, which will then help to improve your bowel movements further. So even if you're not having constipation, it is so important to get this soluble fiber in, to scrape everything out and move the bowels along. You have to do a few tablespoons every single day in order for this to happen. So make sure that you're getting your chia seed pudding in, or add flax to your smoothies, or make bread with psyllium husk. I have all kinds of recipes on Instagram at Marla's Healthy Life, so you can head there if you want to learn for more ways to incorporate these amazing superfood seeds. Tip number 2, probiotics. I don't know if you guys know this, but 50% 50% of your stool, so say you have a bowel movement, and I know it's gross to talk about stool, but it's so important, and really is kind of like the window into your gut. It helps you understand the health of your digestive system. So say you just had a bowel movement, 50% of that stool that you just eliminated is dead probiotics or dead bacteria. So if you're very deficient in probiotics and you don't have a lot of it in there, then your stool is not going to be the right volume, which means, again, if you have a pipe and you need to clean everything out and push things through, if your stool is thinner and smaller and not as big, it's just going to kind of go through without pushing everything with it. So you need to have big, as gross as this sounds, big, healthy, large bowel movements in order to push things through. And so that means that you need a high amount of probiotics in the gut, so that every bowel movement you have, these dead probiotics are coming out with it, and they're bulking up your stool by 50%. So high dose probiotics is so important. I suggest, if you've never taken probiotics before, start small with like 20 billion and then go up to 50 billion, and then slowly work your way up to like 250 billion CFUs. My favorite probiotic is from Genestra. It's the HMF Intensive 500. It's the most potent one out there. It has 500 sorry guys, 500 billion CFU probiotics. So you can do that eventually, and that can repopulate your gut, which, you lose probiotics over time from stress, from bad diet, from antibiotics or medications, and inflammation and dysbiosis. So it's so important to be repopulating all the time, not just with fermented foods and yogurts, but more importantly with an actual probiotic that can help to repopulate your gut and multiply that. And that will build up your stool volume, which again means pushing things out, preventing intestinal blockages and things like that. Tip number 3, we need to work on our peristalsis. Peristalsis is that downward, like clenching, moving motion of the intestinal system to push stool through. So again, it's kind of like, you have a tube and all of this food and stuff is in this tube and you need to get it out. So you kind of squeeze it like a toothpaste tube, you squeeze a tube to push things through. That's how our intestinal system works. So it's like a peristaltic motion that pushes everything out of the body. Now, we lose this peristaltic motion when we're chronically stressed, if there's chronic inflammation in the gut, if you've ever had a concussion, and many other reasons. And so our vagus nerve, which connects our gut and our brain, is actually the nerve that signals this peristaltic motion. And that nerve gets damaged again with inflammation, chronic stress, concussions, etc. And it stops signaling as much as it should. So that peristaltic motion that we need to continuously be pushing food down, pushing probiotics down, keeping everything down, we lose that, and eventually things start to kind of come upwards and they stay stagnant in our gut, and we need to get that out. So what you want to do is transcutaneous vagal nerve stimulation. Use a TENS machine. I have videos on this channel talking about TENS stimulation. I also have an ebook guide on holisticspring.com where you can download the guide and get exactly step-by-step instructions on how to use the TENS machine. It's very affordable to buy this machine, and you can do stimulation at home daily, on a weekly basis, or even monthly basis, depending on how much you need it. But what's really important is to re-stimulate that vagus nerve using the electrical impulses. So over time, your vagus nerve can re-signal that proper peristalsis or migrating motor complex of our digestive system. So it's kind of like re-educating our digestive system on how to function properly after years of abuse and stress and strain. So this is so important because, again, with all the fiber and the probiotics and everything, if you're not having that downward motion, nothing's going to help you improve your bowel movements, reduce the obstructions in the colon or anything like that. So with the probiotics, with the fiber, you also want to be stimulating peristalsis by using a TENS machine if you're able to. A couple other things that you want to do on top of all this to make sure that your digestive system is functioning healthy. And these are really things, the fiber, the probiotics, even the TENS stimulation, and the rest of these things that I'm going to share with you are really things that should be done lifelong. Again, maybe not every single day for the rest of your life you'll have to do TENS stimulation, but at least, doing it seasonally or monthly or weekly. Having fiber every day in your diet for the rest of your life is so important. Supplementing with probiotics, in the beginning every single day, and then get to a point where you can go, sorry, I'm losing my voice, where you can go weekly, then monthly, then seasonally. But just getting these things in for the rest of your life is so important. Okay, so fluid. You need fluid. Without fluid, you cannot push anything out through the gut. So again, you need this this pressure to push things through to, again, prevent obstructions in the bowels, to prevent constipation, to prevent inflammation or anything else. You have to get these things pushed through. And if you have so much toxicity stuck to the walls of your intestinal system, it can actually lead to polyp growths and things like that. And there's so many studies out that show the benefits of having a high fiber diet in reducing your risk of colon cancer. So you don't want gunk stuck to your intestinal system. You want all of that out. And the best way to do that is with the fiber and the probiotics and the TENS stimulation to push things through, and a high vegetable diet, but also fluid. Fluid's another thing that's going to help push things through. Fiber soaks up so much water, so it actually can constipate you if you're not having enough hydration in the colon, so that it can absorb water but still have enough extra fluid to push everything out. So hydration is key. Go for at least 10 glasses a day of water, of good quality filtered water, to keep your cells functioning, keep your kidneys functioning, your colon functioning, have enough to hydrate your skin and all the rest of it. And some will always come out of your skin through sweat. So just keep your body healthy by drinking enough water. Almost done. Hot drinks. So I know a lot of people prefer cold, right? We always have iced coffees, we have smoothies that are cold, but we also go for slushies and slurpees, cold sodas, ice water. Everything we tend to gravitate towards more so is usually cold. And cold water actually clenches our organ. It tightens up and stresses our organs out. So if you're having cold water, your stomach, your intestinal system, your liver, your kidneys, they kind of tense up a little bit and they don't function properly. Your kidneys and your liver need to be very hot you need to have that heat in the abdomen in order for them to drain and detoxify. And your stomach and your intestinal system needs to be warmer as well in order for smooth motions of everything to go through. If you're having really cold stuff, again, it's very stressful on our digestive system, and it kind of tightens and tenses things up. And so you're not having that proper digestive system function. You're not having the proper peristalsis. So try to eliminate cold drinks, and not forever, and not that you can never have anything cold. You can have your ice cream, your smoothies, you can have your iced coffees, but really try as much as possible to get more hot fluids in, or at least room temperature. So try to drink your water room temperature instead of with ice, and try, especially at meal times, to have more warmer beverages if you're drinking with your meals. So herbal teas, room temperature water, hot soups or broths, these are the kinds of things you want to relax the digestive system and get everything flowing properly and get the liver and kidneys working properly with your digestive system. So kind of cut back on the cold stuff, do the warm things, take hot baths, put hot water bags on your abdomen if you're able, if you're not pregnant or anything like that. Heat up your abdomen, that's the idea. And with more heat will come better digestion. It's kind of loosening everything up. Okay, the very last tip that I want to give you guys, and this is another thing that should be done the rest of your life. These are lifestyle habits. These are things that you want to make a habit and that they end up just happening day to day without you even realize you're doing them. Okay, so you want to be having your fiber in your food and naturally just cook with your fiber. I add chia seeds to everything, to my smoothies, to salad dressings, puddings. We take probiotic supplements very frequently. We do 10 stimulation on a weekly basis. These have become habits for us. Things like drinking water or eating, which are habits. These two should be habits for you. Drinking warmer drinks, avoiding too much cold stuff. These are natural things that, again, you should incorporate to become a habit lifelong for optimal digestion and intestinal health, to prevent, hopefully, polyp formations, obstructions in the bowels, constipation, inflammation in the colon, things like that. So the last thing is movement. Your body becomes very stagnant if you are stagnant. So if you're sitting on a couch all day, reading or working or not really exercising, nothing in the body can physically move. You need the contraction of your muscles and the physical up and down motions and all of that to get everything out properly. So you need your physical muscle contraction for blood flow, for lymphatic flow. And again, if you kind of have like your intestinal system gets kind of squished when you're sitting, and if food's kind of sitting in there, it's not going to move as smoothly than if you're upright and standing, and even more importantly, physically moving and contracting everything by walking, lifting weights, doing stretches, Pilates, whatever works for you. But movement is something that should be done daily. You don't need to do hours of working out. That's not what I'm saying. But if you can go for a healthy, brisk walk every day, or if at least you're gardening and moving around on your property, or working out 3 times a week for half hour or 20 minutes, whatever you got, that's better than nothing. So put some time into moving your body rather than just sitting and being stagnant, because that's a sure way to build up, gunk in the colon and, increase your constipation risks and things like that. So having this proper movement will help improve everything, push things through. It'll improve the function of your digestive system, and you will absolutely see a difference. People who are stagnant and sitting at home, who then go and start working out, always say that they have much healthier and bigger and better bowel movements. You go to the bathroom, you want to feel when you have a bowel movement that it comes out easily. You should be in the bathroom in and out. Like, you should not be sitting in the bathroom for 20 minutes or even 10 minutes. It should be sit down, you have the urge, it comes out, you go. Like, that's how fast it should be. And when you do have a bowel movement, it should come out easily. You shouldn't have to, again, I hate talking about this topic, it's really gross, but you shouldn't have to wipe much. Like, if you wipe, there shouldn't really be much left behind. You shouldn't have to go through rolls and rolls of toilet paper, because if you're having the right amount of fiber and all of that, the stool should slip out, that there's not much to wipe. Okay, you should have really smooth bowel movements, not anything that's too sticky. So again, it should come out easily. You don't have to wipe much, but the most important thing, you should feel empty, like you have emptied your bowels. That's how you should be feeling. If you have a bowel movement and still feel like there's something in your gut or in your intestinal system, that means that you're not having enough fiber, there's not enough water, perhaps not enough movement. You need to get everything out. You know that you have good digestive function if you're having at least 1 full big bowel movement a day. Even 2 is better. And if when you have those bowel movements, they're easy to come out, minimal wiping, and you feel like, wow, I just lost 10 pounds. You should feel great after a bowel movement. Those are signs that your digestive system is functioning well. So that's what I wanted to share in today's video. Really break it down for you. I know this video was long, but there was just a lot to explain and cover. There's even more I would love to go into detail on, but I don't want this video to be half-hour long. So I hope that you guys enjoy. Please incorporate these tips if you're not already, and make them habits. Make them things that you do without even realizing. Drinking enough water, having hotter and warmer or room temp beverages, supplementing with your probiotics, getting fiber in whenever you can. These are things that should just be done. They shouldn't be chores. They shouldn't be something you have to remind yourself to do. Make them a habit, get them done daily, and before you know it, you're going to have the smoothest and best digestion, and you're not even going to realize it. It's just going to happen, and you're going to feel amazing. It's going to help you lose weight and just improve all of your symptoms, especially the skin. So that is all for today. If you guys have any questions, put them in the comments down below. But That's all from me. One last thing before you guys sign off. If you want to chat with me one-on-one and ask me your questions, get in-depth answers from me, and get access to exclusive, uncensored content, head to holisticspring.org. It's linked down below, and sign up for the membership platform. And there's so many protocols and so much resources there, and you have the chance to talk with me one-on-one 24/7. So I hope you guys join. I would love to see you there. But that is all for me. Have a wonderful day, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.